But, but I feel like speaking out has made a difference. I was invited by the Human Rights First group, who have been working very hard on this for years, to speak at the United Nations in March to lobby against the defamation of religions resolution that is passed every year. It's tabled by Pakistan and the OIC, and it's essentially a global blasphemy law that prohibits the defamation of religions under this pretext of serving religious minorities. In Geneva, we spoke about the realities of the ground realities of these laws, how they're used as an instrument of repression and terror. And we reminded the dignitaries and the ambassadors that you can't protect a religion, but you can protect its followers. So instead of prohibiting the defamation of a religion, you have to prohibit hate speech or incitement to murder and violence. And you can't forego the individual freedoms of thought, speech, and belief, and ultimately, as we've seen, even the right to life, to protect a religion. So the dignitaries and the ambassadors, they listened, because this March, for the first time in 11 years, they did not vote yes to this resolution. So my father and Shahbaz Bhatti's deaths have had global ramifications, but obviously it's going to take a long time before Pakistan can learn from these skyrocketing conviction rates. Our government for years has appeased these extremists, and they have not cracked down on them. They've given these hate mongers an open platform from which to operate. And this, I feel, whether deliberate or not, translates into collusion. Whether they can be blamed or not is another question, because it's a realistic fear, and everyone is feeling backed up against a wall. But when you understand the climate in Pakistan, and in a time that I feel has just showed so much cowardice, you can see that my father's brave stand was a revolutionary act. The stakes were high, but my father refused to falter. In fact, one of his last tweets was, "I was under huge pressure to cow down before righteous pressure on the blasphemy law. I refused, even if I'm the last man standing." So when a man like this is murdered, you find yourself wondering what else disappeared into the grave with him, and whether his death was the last nail in the coffin for a progressive Pakistan and Islam. I certainly felt like I had run into a dead end. But something in me changed when I read his post-mortem report. And although that's something personal, I wish to share it with all of you. It said that my father had been shot 27 times between his neck and his hip. Each one of my father's vital organs had been punctured by the hail of bullets, except for his heart and his larynx. And I remember thinking at the time that what a man. Even in his death, they could not silence his mighty, compassionate voice, his mighty, compassionate heart, or silence his husky, sensible voice. And it was that day that I realized that the fight is not over. And it was that day that I realized that my father was a meteor of a man who had consumed himself to light the path for the rest of us. And I think that it would be a terrible disservice to his life, to his work, and to his death if we allowed this debate on the blasphemy law to die along with him. And if we did not galvanize and keep living and keep fighting and keep speaking out and acting against injustices and extremism. It's unfortunate that the image of Islam especially has suffered so greatly at the hands of these extremists. Our religion is beautiful, it's peaceful, it's progressive, and therefore it's essential that the true values of Islam, which is of mercy, justice, peace, human dignity, freedom, and equality for all, be cultivated and spread. Our Islam is being misrepresented by these Islamist hate mongers, and it's something that I lost my father, my friend, and my hero to. And I don't wish for any other family to have to suffer through what mine has had to, or for any other nation to have to lose its brave heart because of this madness in the name of religion. So I think that today we are in a position of responsibility, whether we've been directly affected or not. And that is to always be a part of the solution. And I think it's crucial that we are the voices that dominate this trajectory. Because, it's easy to get caught up in the notion sometimes that there are two different realities at work, and that terrorism and extremism is something that doesn't have to directly affect us. But it's something that's impossible to ignore now, and it's crept up to all of our shores, and it's around us everywhere that we look. So, we won't see the results tomorrow, but I think in 10, 15, and 20 years, we will reap the rewards for sowing the seeds for a progressive Pakistan and Islam. And with that, I'd like to thank you all for being here today, and I hope that we can continue the good fight forward.